All right, Ryan, welcome to the show, my man.
Drew, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here. I've been watching the podcast for probably years now, and I can't believe that I'm sitting here in this seat right now about to be a guest on this show.
That's amazing, man. Thank you so much. Um, I got, I want to hit the listeners with the little intro here. You guys have been making waves. Specifically, you've been making waves. You've created an event, a physical event, Faded, that's had two shows now, and you're also running the Faded Lives, which is kind of a mind-blowing phenomena, I would say. You've created a platform not only with the physical show, which is an amazing event. I've been to the first one. It's curated nicely. You have great vendors. You had
Mhm.
this art component that was very cool. Speakers, which kind of adds like another like more layers than a lot of events. But
Yeah.
that has now like translated into this Whatnot Live that you're solely running, I believe, by yourself currently.
Yes, currently just me. I had two partners helping me with that from the start. Joe was with us until October, and Jeremy was with us until November. But a little first little leak of information, guys. We do have a new host joining us in the middle of January. I'm not going to leak who it is yet, but I think everyone's going to
Cool.
be very excited about that.
That's awesome. That was actually one of my questions for later in the episode, but that's
Yeah,
awesome to hear because I was like, I want to talk more about the live and like the pressures of that and like the burnout that comes with that because I know it's
yeah.
not easy, especially for you like doing it yourself. So
Oh, yeah.
that live to intro it like has become this like staple in the community, right? And it's become
Yes.
this place where not only people can go and buy great vintage, but also like a place where people can make good money, right? You've kind of become like a cornerstone for a lot of sellers to really bolster their income. And some probably really rely on what you guys are doing there as a huge part of their income, if not like the main part of their income.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you said that. When people ask me what I do now, the first thing I say is that I help people. That is the
Fuck yeah.
absolute that's the absolute heart and soul of the Faded Show is at its very core, we're helping people. We're helping people make money, keep their stores open, keep their dreams alive, and
Yeah.
move product in a way that I feel is equal, if not better, than setting up at a local market, a pop-up, a regional event, etc.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And I definitely want to dive way deeper into that. And the other thing that comes with your intro here is you come highly regarded within the space. Now, this doesn't come easy, I would say, for anyone because this space is we're working within a space of business people. There's a lot
hmm
of competition. There's a lot of egos involved in this space. There's a lot that goes into this whole world of vintage clothing. And from talking to your friends, from knowing you the little bit that I do, from talking to people that work with you, you come highly regarded, and in ways like you bring the community together. You're very good at bringing people together. You're very honest within what you do. You're an honest host. You're an honest guy. But you're also very knowledgeable about what you're selling, and you're honest enough
yeah.
to say when you don't know about something. Um, so I just want to give you kudos to that. That like
Thank you,
you've
thank you.
been doing this enough, and the people who work with you look up to you, they respect you. Um, so big accomplishment, and I'm very excited to dive into all kinds of topics with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about all the amazing things that are happening within the community and just within what I've created in my little micro space within the community.
Exciting, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. So I want to dive into like your history of how you sort of started in the business because everybody
yeah,
knows you from Faded. But before I get into that, before we jump deep into like the
yeah.
roots of your vintage career, I got a guest question from Gavin to Fitch. He
Oh
says,
no.
he says, what is your favorite strip club?
Oh boy, Cadillac Lounge in Providence, Rhode Island, or Madame X in Soho. New York
All
City.
right, all right, nice.
Yes, yes, those are two of
So
my favorite
you're a
spots.
you're a frequenter of the arts.
I do enjoy to indulge in the arts.
Nice, nice. Um,
Yes, thank you.
okay.
Thank you for that one, Gavin. Starting things off hot.
Okay, so another question
Now,
before we dive back
cool,
to the
cool,
history. I got
cool.
a couple of prelim questions here. Because of the work that you do with live selling, obviously we're going to talk a lot about that. I really want to make this episode like about the Faded Show, but also like a reference place where people can learn a little bit more about Whatnot in general. So I want to like dive
Yeah,
deeper into like the whole Whatnot platform, live selling, your tips and tricks on, and all that.
of course.
Um, so the question though I have though preliminary is because you do so much work live, you really get a pulse of the market. You really get to see what's selling, what's not selling,
Yes.
what's going up in value, what's going down in value. So the question is, what items do you see currently that are like hitting highs? What items do you see
Hmm.
currently that are like dropping in value? And then
Yes.
also, if there are any items that you think are sleepers that like do hit good values that not a lot of people might know about?
Yes. Right now I'm noticing huge uptick on licensed Nine Inch Nails tees. Very just, in my opinion, stuff that's very easy to find. Even like the Hot Topic specials from the 90s and early 2000s, just the downward spiral with the thing coming down the front. That's been selling the past month upwards of $600 every single time. And that blows my mind. I mean, guys, buy what you like, but that shirt was sitting in every single mall in America from when it was created in 94, probably in certain places that weren't too shopped up until the early 2000s, just sitting there full stock. So that shirt's ticking upward. And obviously 90s alt indie parking lot tees. We had a Pearl Jam long sleeve. I think it was Versus era. Went for like $880 the other day, which was just insane to watch. Cranberries boots going for $600. Stuff like that is just really, really skyrocketing. So I really feel like that kind of just harps on the point of, obviously not with the Nine Inch Nails, but with the parking lot stuff, just the unique factor. If there's three dates on the
Yeah.
back, hey, they're only selling that at three different shows. That guy only traveled for three legs of the tour. And stuff like that, the collectors are still coming out, and the end buyer is coming out for a piece like that still.
Interesting. So you said the Nine Inch Nails licensed one, so it's got to be the licensed one, and I
Yep.
that brings me to a topic of details, right? Like we're gonna kind of get into some t-shirt nerd stuff here
Yeah, of
because
course.
this is what it is, right? It's like the differences of a licensed shirt versus a non-licensed shirt obviously has value, and when you get to see these nuances of things that create
Yep.
more value or more collectability or more interest. Um, and again, with like you're saying, the parking lot boots of say these '90s alt things, we don't see a lot of those. You see more like great. You obviously see lots of Grateful Dead parking lot shirts
Yeah.
or like other
But
older things maybe.
that's a world of its own.
Yeah, exactly. So this
That
'90s
stuff's a world of
alt
its own.
parking lot thing, like you didn't see much. There wasn't like parking lot parties at these
Yeah.
'90s rock shows like there were at other shows, right?
Yes.
So I imagine they're
Um,
quite rare.
Definitely, definitely rare. And they're really cool to see. And I feel like a lot of the best ones, even though they're created in the US, have ended up overseas. And a lot of the US buyers are buying these pieces from overseas, bringing them back home, and they're going they're going crazier over here.
Wow. Okay. So any
Yeah.
sleeper items that you think the audience might vibe on, like or need to know, like things that you see moving that potentially not a lot of people would know about?
K Records, bands like Beat Happening, Heavenly, Halo Benders. There is a huge market for that happening right now, and you guys will see I'm kind of doing my work with that to kind of bring that to the light and kind of shine more light on those bands because they're so good and the shirts are so cool, so collectible, and they're actually hard to find, which kind of that's what excites me now in my terms of buying what I'm curating because I still do website drops quarterly
Okay.
for stuff like that. That's what excites me. It's, can I actually find something that I've heard of, that I've seen a picture of, that I've seen in a documentary, an old line sheet, an old catalog? finding those tees and bringing those back to the limelight. But obviously too, there's a huge uptick on Sunday's tees right now. Luna, which is interesting because Galaxy 500 has always been going crazy, but Luna shirts are really popping off right now. Cockatoo Twins, Drop 19s, just all kind of like the more shoegazy indie of the early 90s. There's a
Yeah, so
high
these are
demand for
these are
that.
bands like I know nothing about. This is
Dude, you
awesome.
know what's a
Okay.
weird one too? People are asking for curve tees every single night now, and that's a question that no one's asked me for that for the past 5 years. People are bringing up the band Curve, which I'll even say, frankly, I am not a Curve fan, not the biggest, not even that familiar with their music, but I get a request, hey, any Curve every single night. Hey, any Pale Saints every single night.
Wow. Okay. Good to
Yeah,
know. Good
yeah.
to know. Just drop
But
some serious underground knowledge there for you guys.
yeah, and if you guys don't know, that's what I'm personally into, more into like the indie rock shoegaze stuff. That's what I collect. That's what I listen to. That's what I love. That's what kind of lights my fire. But kind of just to go back to the Nine Inch Nails thing, I'll describe what's happening with that band right now. So remember like 3, 4 years ago when Smashing Pumpkins tees kind of went from that like 150, $200 level up to like the 300, $400 level.
Yeah,
That's what's happening
totally.
with Nine Inch Nails right now. It's the same thing that happened with Nirvana like 5, 6, 7 years ago when it went from the same thing like $150, 200 up to like the $400, $500 range. So I guess like that kind of leaves us if it's happening with the Nails right now, who is it going to happen with next? And that will only be tied into bands that were, I would say, commercially successful and popular in the 90s and created that amount of merch. And I don't have the answer to that, but I would like in the comment section when this does air, let me know what you guys think. What is the next band that's gonna kind of hit that next I don't know, ascend to the next plateau?
Hell yeah, I love that question. Hopefully, it's a band that I have a box full of in my warehouse so that I can profit off it. But let's see what you guys let's see what you guys think in the comments. You know, off the top of my head, I think like maybe like something like Green Day or like you already
Yeah,
mentioned, Pearl Jam potentially had a lot of
yeah,
shirts. Or um, those are the two that I think of, right? Because
yeah,
again, like when you like Nirvana is at the pinnacle of this pyramid, and then it kind of trickles down through like less core bands, maybe, or more
yeah.
commercially successful bands. Who knows? What do you guys think?
I
That's an
think
awesome
I
question.
I think you got a point with Green Day. They're gearing up. I think they're doing the 30th anniversary of Dookie this summer, and they're also combining that with the 20th of American Idiot. So there should be a lot of demand just strictly based off of the fact that there's going to be a million Green Day shows this summer.
Yeah, totally. And that
Yeah,
affects the market, right? Like
of course.
when bands come back in the limelight, and same with like movies, right? When a movie
Yep,
reissues on Netflix, all of a sudden you see an uptick in
yep.
people wanting the shirts, right?
I mean, look at Blink 182. This past year, shout out Taryn for that one. But
Yeah, totally. Oh God,
my
there was a period there. I
um,
was like, if Taryn posts another Blink 182 shirt or hype post for this, I'm throwing my phone. But anyway,
there's that 2001 Blink 182 shirt. It just has the Tom, Mark, and Travis's face on the front. Yeah, I think it's 2001, and it got to the point on the live where I was just titling the shirt that one Blink 182 shirt that Terry made popular,
nice.
and it would still
That's
sell every
awesome.
single time, and everyone knew.
That's amazing. Shout out Terrence. All right, so one more quick pre-question was from Jacob Starr. A lot of you guys know him. We did an episode of the show. He also has a Whatnot show. He's a frequenter, probably, of the Faded show. I'm sure he's buying all the time off you guys on your show.
Guys, make sure that you are following THRIFTROW on all platforms.
Yeah, he is a hard promoter of the lives for sure. He's got his
Yep.
own YouTube. He's one of the most successful thrift YouTubes, for lack of a better term, thrift vloggers, I would say. Um, so his question was, tell us about some of your personal recent pickups, your maybe higher price personal recent pickups.
All right, so I recently picked up for myself. I got two Drop 19 shirts, which I'm pretty sure I have the only one of the 1993 drop shirts in the US right now. But just to go back before, I've been buying a lot of K Record shirts. I have a bunch of beat happening right now, and if anyone has a Kicking Giant shirt from '95, please message me on any platform. I'm looking for that. But those are two shirts
Okay.
that I'm very excited that I have right now,
And you said you
and
do
that's like
quarterly
been
drops on your website, so you'll
yes, yes,
post collections?
yes. My next drop is January 19th. It's called my winter delivery, and then I'll probably do another one in the spring, summer, fall, and then that's it. I'll drop like 100 to 150 shirts each time, and I've been lucky enough in the past year, every time I do it now, it sells out within like 2, 3 days. So
Great.
really, really grateful for that. Because I've had the website since probably like 2016, 2017, and it's taken me however many years that is to reach the point where there's enough demand and people are actually interested in tuning in for what I have to offer. And I'm so, so lucky for that.
It's not an easy feat in
Yeah, I
today's
mean,
market.
I always tell people who are like starting their own websites now, it's like really, you really have to keep pushing. Like it took a bunch of us years to get any type of traction, people being excited about it, building our email lists up, getting our SEO correct. So when you're looking for stuff, you're going to find us on Google. And you really just got to keep pushing. And I always tell people now too, you kind of have to treat it like an artist would be dropping like a single or an album. I always use this quote. It's like, hey, like if Tyler the Creator drops a single, you don't see him stop posting about it after they drop. You have to keep promoting that cycle. And he's gonna be talking about that single that he dropped in March in December of the same year. So you really have to keep promoting and pushing yourself. You can't really expect people to show up. You have to really let people know and almost force people to know that, hey, I have this website, I have product on it. Look at my shit.
Totally. Especially with all the noise happening now, all the choices people have, all the platforms people have to shop,
Yeah.
why are they going to go to your site? You need to make it
Hmm.
enticing. In your case, it's probably that you drop things that they can't find anywhere else, right? In some people's
Yeah.
case, it could be like you have better prices than anyone has anywhere
Yep.
else, or something to get them there. And then, yeah, like treat it like an ongoing effort. A lot of
Yeah.
people I see this and I warn people. It's an interesting topic. I see people who are like, I'm opening a site. That's my big thing. It's going to be epic. I'm going to make all this money. And I'm like, bro,
Big
like,
things coming.
yeah, check yourself. Like, yes, you can open a site in a week if you really wanted to. It's not that
Yeah.
complicated. But actually making money on that site is a whole nother ball game.
Yep.
And becoming something that people are shopping regularly, it takes years and years and years. And that's why, like, I feel like there's going to be a downtick in that because there's too many other options like the Whatnot where you can make money your first day, right?
Yep. Yep.
You're not going to make money your first day on a website drop unless it's so fucking good that people need to buy from you.
Yeah. Or unless you've been posting and you have your own niche, like say like your Instagram has hundreds and thousands of followers, then you drop that website, or you have
Yeah,
a big YouTube
exactly.
page, big TikTok page. That's different. Then you're an outlier and you don't really classify into the same category of just, hey, I'm gonna drop a website, like whatever happens,
Totally.
happens.
Totally.
So I guess that
So
kind
yeah,
of really the point of that is like create your own hype behind yourself and uh, sell yourself with that point.
yeah, exactly. You got to really
Yeah.
do the work. Okay, so let's dive into your history. What was your first experience in vintage clothing? I want to like get to the root of like what makes you tick, how you got into this business, and then
Yep.
we'll move into like the faded events. Sorry to interrupt the show, but I have a quick intermission. I have some announcements for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you don't follow the channel, make sure you do on YouTube and make sure you like this video on YouTube. All right, a couple notes you guys should take advantage of here. If you want to listen to the full episode, then what you got to do is jump on the Patreon or join right here on YouTube. This is the free 45-minute version of the show, as always. It is uh, $5 a month on the Patreon, but you get a whole week for free. You get a free week-long trial. This episode goes over 2 hours long. All episodes go over 2 hours long. There's so much more to learn from Ryan here about Whatnot, about selling live, about the business. Again, jump on the Patreon link down below or click the join button here on YouTube and you can get access to the full 2+ hour episode. Also, I would like to say we are currently buying at F as in Frank. We're looking for suppliers. If you want to sell us bundles, if you want to wholesale to us, we now have 4 stores that we need to fill with great stock. So we're looking to buy off you guys. I know the listeners of the show are all vintage dealers. So if you want to sell to me, F as in Frank, I am happy to buy. What I'm currently looking for is Carhartt jackets, Realtree shirts and pants. I'm looking for Carhartt pants. I'm looking for knit sweaters. We want good knit sweaters. They're selling like crazy this winter. We want crew neck sweatshirts. We want a good grade of printed crew neck sweatshirts, all styles. Hoodies as well, vintage hoodies. The list is large, so we're buying a mix of everything, guys. If you want to sell to us, Y2K we're looking for baggy pants. We're looking for mixes of Y2K. We're looking for all kinds of stuff. If you want to sell to me, hit me up on Instagram. Let's make a deal. Let's get you guys cashed the F out, and I can get some product for my stores, okay? Again, back to the episode. Sorry for the rambling.
All right, so I went to college in Boston, Massachusetts. I started there in 2012, graduated in 2017, took like an extra year because I was having a little too much fun in college. But
Nice.
in that point, I started thrifting. I was always into streetwear and sneakers. But then I was like, hey, like I really love music. I want to go find band tees. So I started doing that. Then I started thrifting, got into Polo, Tommy, North Face, Guess, denim, etc. And I got a job working at a almost like a round two like rip off style store in Boston. It was called Thrive, and I started there in 2017 and was there until 2020, like the end of 2020 is when the store closed. And
Okay.
there I was working with vintage every day, buying, selling, picking for the store. It was a multi-vendor shop, and just kind of just getting my feet wet and learning about it and learning about what people want, what people don't want, what I like, which definitely kind of just always circled back and landed on with t-shirts. That's what I was taking home for myself. That's what I was buying for myself. That's what I liked. So that
Cool.
closed, and that's when I my Disorder Vintage page at that point was just like a Finstagram where I was just posting like just anything. But when the store closed, I went home and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I don't want to I have a degree in arts management, but I don't want to get an office job, a desk job. I don't want to work in a gallery. I don't want to do anything like that. So I started selling my own stuff and I had some pretty instant success or just I don't know, people were into what I had just because I don't know, imagine I mean, like I wasn't really selling. I was hoarding for years. So I had huge
Yeah.
stacks of like really good shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that kind of really leads into the first time that I went live. Because at that point, I don't know, the Instagram live thing started early 21, like was like April 21, right when lockdown hit, I believe is when it started.
Yeah. That's as far as
Um,
I remember.
yeah, I wasn't really involved with that. I knew it was happening. I would hear about it. All my friends were like, yo, you gotta watch this. You gotta see this. Like all these shirts are going crazy. You have all this. But I wasn't really paying attention to it at that point. But then out of work, I had a lot of free time, so I started paying attention. So the first time that I went live, it was there's this store in Lowell, Mass called Holy Grail. They hosted a night. It was more like that was back when I was still up there too. More New England regional sellers, and I was one of the sellers. DeAndre from High Society was one of the sellers that night, and I crushed it. Like I don't know, that was more than I've ever made in like 15 minutes in my life selling vintage clothing. But DeAndre, he accidentally joined the live after on his personal page. So nobody was watching. Like the viewership just spiked. Like no one on his personal page like knows that like he was selling clothing or anything like that. So he calls me all frustrated after he's like, dude, like that went so bad. Like I need to like figure this out. So I was like, fuck it. Like let's go live on our own page right now. And the two of us went live. 5 hours later, we're I sold a Nirvana tee for $2,500 that night with like
Damn.
18 people watching. It was the Bleach Sub Pop one. And I'm just like, dude, like I think we have something here. So then we started together. We had the Boston Tea Party, which you came on once, I believe, and we were doing that for probably a year and a half, 2 years. And
Yeah,
that's
I
kind of where
remember.
like the idea of me hosting and the idea of just bringing on like my friends, that's the real key of those Instagram lives, where it was exclusive. It wasn't exclusive because obviously I don't want anything I do to be exclusive in that sense.
Yeah.
But and, I mean, like, of course, if you ask me, hey, can I come on your live? I'm gonna say yes 10 out of 10 times. But I was kind of just keeping it like fun, fresh, and like within the family and the friends. Ran those lives, and a lot of those faces from those early lives are a lot of the real key people who are now featured on the Whatnot lives with me. And I feel like that's another really, really big part of what I do is I've built those relationships and had those relationships with a lot of my vendors at this point for 3, 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
So
live
yeah, I
slowly
had that. I
grew.
actually had that as a question. So this is cool history because I didn't actually know that that's what spawned it, and I'm assuming this will lead into where like the Faded came. But can you give like, speaking of your core vendors that you've been working with for a long time, people from those
Yeah.
back in those days and now, like give a shout out to some of the people that really fuck with you and are coming back time and time again to sell.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Mike Gray era, Nick all over Prince, Rodrigo Crazy Loco, we got Capital City Wares, End of the World, Fresh Kills Vintage, Future Past, LNF, Mediocre Vintage, Evil Empire, all those dudes rocking for me from day one.
Hell yeah! Is Kelly still on there frequently?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, cool. So
Shout out to Kelly.
shout out to Kelly. He's got an episode if you guys want to go tune into the Kelly Cole episode. That's a great one.
No, he's got
Great
a
guy.
few. He's got a few. He's definitely one of my favorite people to have on. He has really won the audience over too, and he's been on Whatnot probably 3 or 4 times now, and he's really won the audience over. Just with his I mean, he's one of the most interesting people in the entire world outside of vintage. So when he starts really
Totally.
like letting those stories fly too, it's thrilling.
Hell yeah.
Plus,
Hell yeah.
me and him argue like an old married couple while we go live, so it's always fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it becomes more than just the shirts. Like it's those shows that are
Yeah,
most entertaining to watch are the ones where the stories come out, the ones where we're learning things, the ones
yep,
where we can watch even if we have no interest in buying, right? Like those are the great ones.
yes, yes. I mean, that's one of the biggest things in general is just keeping your viewers engaged and putting the viewer first. That's what I tell people too. I think when they ask me for tips on live streaming, even on if it's Instagram, whatnot, anything, put your audience first. Your guest is going to be happy if they're making money. Your guest is going to be like, that's it. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if your guest isn't, like, necessarily engaged with you. Get them engaged with the audience and let the audience know more about them. Get them talking to the chat, get them talking to the crowd. And from that will come the money. And from that will come that fun episode and that good vibe.
Nice. There's your first big whatnot tip, people. Get
Yeah.
engaged. Put the audience first. Fuck yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Okay, so continue on Boston Tea Party days, and then like, how does that lead into the rest of what you built?
All right. So as Boston Tea Party progressed and grew, it got pretty big towards the end. It got pretty big. We had a ton of people watching us on Instagram. But from that too, it's like I'd book 6 people for 15-minute sets, and just because of the way that app works and how it's not designed for live selling, it would be 6, 7 hours later we're finishing, and it was just a lot. I mean, dude, I can't tell you, I don't have to do this anymore. If I ever have to do this again, that will be my 13th
Fucking
reason why.
A.
That's it. Like I'm not doing that. But with that being said too, world started to open back up. DeAndre started to go back to selling in person and putting more focus on that and going back into the field, thrifting again. And I was more interested in continuing to live sell and just kind of focusing on my ultra niche, ultra niche t-shirt market. So Tea Party started to trickle down, and that's what leads us into when I started to work with Whatnot. Whatnot got involved with Faded, and part of our deal that we made with them initially was it was strictly based off of our event. Whatnot is going to sponsor our event, but one of our deliverables was us hosting a live on Whatnot 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
For
had no idea.
what did they originally say?
They had no idea
We'll
they
jump
ever.
back to the event. Did they
Yeah.
originally know that? Did they? How long was the contract? Like how many weeks of 4 days a week? Did they want
No,
you?
the
Did they
first.
say you need to do the whole year?
No, no, no. The first one was 3 months. We started
Okay.
Whatnot in late September, early October 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. And the first lives, like they were rough. They were rough. We were still learning. We the platform, the new audience, bringing our audience over from Instagram too, and kind of getting everyone involved in that way.
Yeah.
So if you look back on our earliest episodes, you can't really see them anymore because they're not in the past show thing. They were rough. They were rough. We were just doing more normal classic style. Hey, here's my shirt. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like and stuff like that. We were still hosting other vendors, but like it really didn't click yet. Kind of the formula that I have now, the formula that we created, it wasn't quite there yet. But I think I'm trying to remember the exact episode when I decided to really speed the pace up and I discovered the adding of the Buy It Now live. That's when everything changed for me. When I realized how quick and I guess I would say when I really figured out how to use the software that Whatnot has for us. The interface is so good, but I think it was who was the guest? It might have been Annie Chang. She came on and we just decided to do claims. But I was like, hey, like let's not preload them. Let's because that's a big thing too. If you preload your entire set into Whatnot, you're automatically alienating and decreasing the audience's attention, and you're not going to retain your viewers because they're going to look through the store and be like, hey, I'm good on this. I'm going to pass. Hey, the prices are too high. Hey, I don't like any of these shirts. I'm going to go on to the next show. We only preloaded the auctions that night, which were all excellent, but we started to hold up the buy it nows, and I would quickly type on my device and add them in live. And I was like, hey, like let's price these pretty, let's price everything to move. I remember I put that first one in, and it sold like before I could even pin it, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a casino now, and people are. We did that all night, 3, 4 hours later. It's the first time we made like a lot of money on there, and
No way.
that's yeah, and that's when I realized, hey, we kind of have something new here, something different, something that's exciting me now too.
That's crazy. So it's a combination of the buy it nows and the auctions, and you give us like the formula now because we're in the talk.
Of
So
course,
so
guys. This
you
is the
have yeah. Okay, go for it.
this is the formula. I'm not gonna hold back any secret sauce. This is what makes Faded Show and what I do unique in its own way, and why it's become, in my opinion, one of the biggest shows in the world. It's the idea. It's not what is, it's what could be. That's the entire key to Faded Show. So if I have a guest come on and they have 20 really good auctions preloaded into the store that you could pre-bid on, that's going to retain the audience. But if my guest comes on and they hold up a $150 Pearl Jam tee and they hold it up for 75 bucks and it sells in 2.5 seconds, now we have the audience's attention for at least another 15 minutes, strictly based on what could happen next. Oh, that was half off. I'm going to be waiting now for another 15 minutes to see, hey, is there going to be another steal like that? What else does this guy have? What else could he have? And that is audience retention. That is what we're really good at.
All
It's the
right.
possibility of
So
what could be.
so everyone has to bring on a portion of these buy it nows that nobody knows about until the show.
Yes, yes. They could
And
preview some of them, but in like a cover
what's
photo, but
yeah, okay. And then what's your timeline on the auctions? Do you guys and it doesn't have it depends on the guest. So you guys do dollar auctions if the guest wants, but if the guest doesn't want, you do
yes.
something else, right?
Yeah, I prefer to do dollar auctions because if you're going to start something at $250 and it's worth $300, you might as well just put up for a buy it now and accept that $250 offer.
Yeah. Okay. And then,
Yeah,
and what are your timelines on the auctions? What do you run them?
1 minute. 1 minute,
You,
but we will do shorter ones if there's a lot of them. But I prefer just the classic 1 minute. And what I tell people when they transition from Instagram is, hey, get ready. This moves a lot quicker than that ever did. That 1 minute, Whatnot has a feature where if someone bids in the last 10 seconds, it resets the clock to 10 seconds.
yeah.
But even with that, like the max auction you're gonna have on there is like a 2.5, 3 minute auction, even with that. So it
Yeah.
moves
So
really quick.
you guys like there's a way to like get rid of that 10-second bump too,
Yes,
right? That's called
that's
like a
called
hard stop, sudden death.
sudden death.
Okay.
Sudden death.
Yeah.
We don't we don't generally do that, but there's a lot of great pages on Whatnot that do utilize that feature and that's also like kind of like a sugar rush type of show where it's like I don't know, it's what's the best way to put this? It creates urgency.
Yeah, that like adds another level of dopamine hit
Yep,
to get your bid in. You got to do it. It kind of like gets your blood boiling
yep,
a little more.
yep.
Um, yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for sharing the formula. Obviously, it's working.
Yeah.
Now, again, I want to dive deeper into the whatnot, but let's continue on the timeline. Like, I kind of want to touch on the actual events.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so Faded now, you just had your second one in the fall, right? Or when was it?
Yes.
Spring?
It was September.
September, okay. And
Yep.
then the one before that was the previous year, which I went
In
to, which
May.
I'll kind of give you my experience of it. What was the venue called again?
Waterfire Arts Center.
Yeah, Waterfire
Shout
Center,
out to
which is
the
like
shout out to the family at Waterfire.
great venue, very clean, like nice, well lit venue with windows. You're not in like some dark convention center vibe. It's more of like
Yeah.
it's a big space, but high ceilings, great light. You know, we had a lot of great vendors there, good vibes,
Yep.
outside component where people were like mingling, and there was that event had the bail popping, which was like
Hmm.
crazy. Um, and you know, it was a good event. It was obviously the first event. Turnout was like it seemed pretty good to me. It wasn't
Yeah.
like insane like a thrift con, but it was like pretty good for an East Coast. And I think there's a lacking of some of these events on the East Coast. I don't know how you guys feel
Yeah.
out there, but I feel like you know Texas gets their share.
Yep.
The West Coast gets plenty of events, but there's sort of this lacking in like the New York, New England area by my estimates. But
Yeah. And that's why
anyway,
we
yeah,
love being in Providence and having our event in this weird little city that the only reason that you're going to be in Providence, like as someone who's not a New Englander, is to come to Faded. And we like that. It's like a little oasis for a 3 day weekend.
totally. And it's a beautiful, beautiful area. Like you're
Of
right near
course.
the coast there. It's a great spot. So yeah, explain how like the originally the Boston Tea Party somehow became like the Faded event. Did you meet everybody through the Tea Party, or how did that all happen?
No, so Faded initially started, it was myself, Longston, who is still with us, Sam, and Joe.
Okay.
Four of us met, four of us decided we wanted to have an event together, and we wanted to put the idea of the art behind what we are all consuming as one of like the four in the forefront of it. So the first show we had the gallery component that Sam curated and put together and did an absolutely amazing job showcasing the lineage of graphic t-shirts from its inception to present day. And we had the art component tied in by featuring the three artists, Sean Taggart, Joey Mars, and Joe Perez. And I feel like that really meshed everyone all I don't know, it meshed past, present, and future,
Can you
which was
speak on
amazing.
quickly those three artists? Like Joey Mars, I know he's done a lot of different band shirts. He's done work with like there's a famous Aerosmith tee I can think of that
Yes,
everyone
yes.
might know. But speak on the other artists, like what might people know them from?
All right, so Joe Perez, you might know him from the Kanye West "Good Music, Cruel Summer" album cover, the Pusha T "My Name Is My Name," and just a lot of he was one of the creative directors at Donda with Kanye. So he just did a lot of like the classic like Kanye stuff he had his hands in. And on top of
Awesome.
that, just countless other artists. And then Sean Taggart did the Jerky Boys art, if you are familiar with that, for my 90s kids, and a lot of early New York City hardcore and punk stuff.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, if you look
Yeah.
up Jerky Boys, if you're unfamiliar, it's like the work that he did was like these caricatures of the guys who were the Jerky Boys, but the Jerky
Yeah.
Boys itself is fucking awesome, and it's like these original pranksters that would do prank calls and record them, and you could buy
Yeah.
tapes of their phone calls, and it's fucking golden. Like it's still holds up this day as some funny ass
Yeah.
shit for sure.
Yeah, no. Good guys.
Okay, so um, we have a guest question. So from at mid dot tease, he
Yeah.
writes, "What gave you the idea to start Faded?" So how did you guys get together? Like, was this just a random, like, we're having a beer, let's come up, let's do a show? Like, who came up with the idea? And like, give us the creative process on how this happened.
Just the idea of being a lack of an event in New England, and just a
Okay.
lack of event, just having our own event. That's what it was. It's not like a crazy, hey, like let's take over the world. It's just like, hey, let's try this. We can do this. And from that, it really grew just because of the personalities involved and like the way that we all conduct our business of wanting to have something great.
Yeah.
We realized quickly that it was going to be great just based off of how ambitious all of us are and the way that we conduct our business.
So for people out there, talk about the logistics, what goes into throwing an event like that, because I know that it's not easy. There's a lot
Yeah,
of moving parts. This is not it's different than opening a store. It's different than hosting a
yep.
live show. It's having an event is so much organization. So give us the breakdown of your experience and maybe like, yeah, some takeaways from doing those events.
I mean, you have to secure the venue and build your relationship with the venue so that you can work together, but also not work in a way that is not collaborative with the venue. That's why we love Waterfire. They're super collaborative. It is at its core an art gallery, so you have that aspect to it too. Everyone there is extremely skilled and professional in the terms of creating an experience and installation aspect of the event. So obviously that's first and foremost, but second is the hyperlocal marketing. That's really what put Faded 2 leaps and bounds ahead of the first one. Was we really had our foot in the ground. We were in the colleges, in the malls, in all the local stores, really trying to get people who we don't know to come. That was the biggest difference. At Faded 1, I knew pretty much everyone that I was seeing. At Faded 2, a lot of faces that I've never seen before, people who I've never met, people who aren't following us on Instagram, people who have no idea about whatnot, about our websites, stuff like that. And that's where you really take your event to the next level is when you get just people coming because hey, we like vintage clothing. Hey, we just want something fun to do. This looks like a cool way to
Yeah,
spend your
totally.
Saturday.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thing to touch on because I think there's probably a misconception out there for people who want to maybe go start an event.
Yeah.
Maybe you have 10,000 followers on Instagram or you have a core group of people in the community. That's not
Yeah.
really enough to do an event. It might be fun for you and your bros to like hang out and like trade
Of
some
course.
shirts, but it's not going to be successful in the way that you probably want it to be. And that's great to hear that you guys did that. I wasn't at the second one, but it's cool to see that you did that because that is where like you know again like
That's where you
talking
take
about
that
the
next step.
yeah, and talking about the lives, you're like it's about the engagement. It's about it, as long as your guest is making money, they're happy. It's the same with a live with the in-person event. It's like you need your vendors to be happy to continue to come
Yeah.
back, which means you need to go and get those everyday buyers, the people who, like you said, want something fun to do on a Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
Um, you need to have them and you need to market to them. So that's a whole nother thing that a lot of people don't understand in this business. It's like get the general public involved, get outside the business, get the people of the city to come out and support something.
Yep, exactly.
That's
So with
great,
that
man.
being said, too, the attendance doubled at the second event.
Yeah, epic. That's rad.
It was great.
All right, so I want to talk. So Sam left in the beginning. He left after the first year, and you
Yes.
recently had Joe step down. He came on and he discussed his side of it. I want to hear, from you, like how that's been, your experience with partners leaving, and yeah, like you get to speak on how that went down with both those guys.
Yeah, no, it was extremely grateful for the time working with each of them. They're both extremely smart, extremely driven and knowledgeable business partners and people, and I wish them both the best. But at this point, I'm putting the event forward, putting Faded forward, and I guess it's about the next steps. What are we gonna do next? So obviously, I'll let it be known now. Faded 3 is happening in September 2024. And we
Great.
have a very special surprise for everyone this summer, but I'm not going to speak on that yet. But keep your eyes, ears open, turn your notifications on. We're going to keep moving forward.
Okay, great. Was
Yeah.
was like was the recent news from Joe leaving like surprise to you, or were you kind of like it seemed like the natural progression, it seemed time, or were you shocked?
I was just slightly blindsided by it, but I wish Joe all the best, and I'm really happy that he's found his peace and is moving forward in his own direction.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what he's working on.
cool. I've had lots of partners in the past, and
Yeah.
lots that have come and gone, and like, well, no, not a lot. There's been some, and sometimes they end pretty amicably, and sometimes not. But it seems like you guys, it was time for him, and you guys can go your separate ways, and it's good to hear that, like, that you and Longston are still going to continue on the legacy here and keep Faded rocking forward. All right, that brings us to the end of the episode. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Ryan, for coming on. As you know, this is the free 45-minute version of the show. What you got to do now to get the rest of the episode, the full 2 hours with no ads, all ad-free episodes are 2+ hours long. You got to jump on the Patreon. You get a free 7-day trial, and then after that, it's just $5 a month. That's $1.25 per episode. Crazy for the amount of stuff you're going to learn. Link down below to the Patreon. You can also join the YouTube channel right here on YouTube. Click the join button. I think that's $6 a month, and you can get it there too. You want to be listening to the full episodes ad-free, and thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Regardless of if you want to jump on the Patreon or join here, I appreciate you guys tuning in. The least you can do is like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit me up if you want to sell me bundles, guys. I'm always buying, looking for all kinds of levels of product for the retail stores. So hit us up. And that's it. As always, FisandFrankVintage.com. Go shop there for 30% off. Use code VTGNStuff. VTGNStuff on the website. Link down below. That's it. That's all. Have yourself a great day. In the words of Dave Heifetz, be happy, not crappy.